Igal, I know you now since some years, I would say, and then I know that you are a trauma therapist. What I didn't know, what I read on your homepage, is that you translated books about religion and spirituality into Hebrew. Didn't know that. I know that you are, since many, many years, a spiritual seeker, lifelong, I would say, what I heard from you until now. And you are expecting to be ordained as a rabbi in the summer of this year. And what always fascinates me in the relation to you is your strong passion for this path. Maybe we can start with that you from your point of view, what is a spiritual seeker or spiritual seeking itself? What would you say?
Thank you. Thanks. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So for me, at least the way it's manifested in me, spiritual seeker is somebody who responds to a call from the unknown. Somebody who feels that what I see could not be everything that there is. What I read could not be everything that there is. And I don't know what it is that I'm called by, but I'm going. And I think that's the most general thing that I can say about it. And of course, it manifests differently in different people. How that call comes, how that tap on the shoulders, hey, look left or look right, or how it manifests. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And Susanne, what would you say? What is this for you? Spiritual seeking, to be a spiritual seeker.
It's really a good question. What does that mean? For me, it's, I would say it's to ask or to come closer to that question. It's also like to come closer to my soul, to this entity of coming from the unknown, as you said, Igal, or coming from a level of unformed energy or light. And I would say at the same time, of course, I'm a seeker. I'm also on this way, and it's an important topic in my life to to find something in life, or so in this life. So if I am a seeker, I'm also a finder. And this is kind of an ongoing process. I would say it like this. And it shows up, of course, in different parts. I can develop myself in life. So in relationship, or in my profession, or projects which finds me, or something like that. Yeah, but it's an ongoing process. And there's an answer. I can find that in my heart, or I don't know how to say that. It's not that, oh, now I'm searching for this for 10 years and now I find it and then it's good. It's not like this. It's an ongoing thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is what I start.
And maybe I also feel it in response to Susanna. I want to say one more thing because at least the way it manifested in me is at one point at the age of 18, I realized that I am not conscious. I'm maybe very smart. And of course, when you're 18, you feel that you're smarter than anybody else. And I may be very well read but really I'm walking like a robot, like everybody else, doing exactly what everybody else is doing, and I don't even know what life is about. And at that time there was a desire, I would like to be more conscious. And the question is, who can help me to be more conscious? Is it a rabbi? Is it a guru? Is it what is it? So that was really the question, not which God is the real God or like that. How do I become more conscious? I thought there was an end to it, like I'll be enlightened and then I'll be a Superman. But really, as Susanna said, it's an ongoing process. Thank God. It's an ongoing process. There is no, at least maybe I think it's an ongoing process because I haven't reached the end, but it seems to me like it's an ongoing process that you keep on becoming more aware.
Because Susanne mentioned the soul, so in her answer too, is there something because you are here for the Jewish side, in the Jewish mysticism, what the soul, what is a soul? A soul and maybe levels of soul, I think also. Can we talk a little bit about soul?
So I will be very honest with you.
Please.
When it comes to the soul, I'm more informed by Thomas Hübel than by any religious teaching. Because, yes, there is very elaborate teaching about the soul in the Jewish tradition. But my question is always, how does the teaching refer to my life now as a New Yorker in the 21st century? And I find that I don't know what to do with it from what I understand of the Jewish teaching. When it comes to the teaching of the soul, the teaching of Thomas, which is inspired by the Kabbalah, his teaching of the light and the higher levels is very much inspired by the Kabbalah. I just find I can relax into that teaching. And so that's, since we're all Thomas people here, I don't think I have anything new. I assume, I'm not sure I'm right, that it's mostly Thomas's Hübel students here. Maybe I'm not right, but if that's the case, I don't think I have anything to add.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Susanne, something from your side that is more related to Christianity?
Connected to the soul, you mean?
Yes, sure.
No, I cannot say if this is connected to Christianity. What I sense in that, what I experienced with myself and also in the work with other people. So I would say every time I do kind of a practice to bring into life the connection with my soul. It's not only my soul. So I have the feeling there is, I need also to find or feel the connectedness to other souls. So there is kind of, in meditation, we can have meditation with the soul's connectedness, but there is also kind of this interconnectedness of the souls. This is how I can feel that. And maybe it's connected to Christianity, to This is in German is the Nächstenliebe. So I don't know the English word for this, but I can look.
There is no English word for Nächstenliebe.
Yeah, it's in Nächstenliebe. So this is connected to, I can learn that in the connection with Jesus, the Nächstenliebe. And it might be something like this, how I experienced it in my way to stay connected to the soul's level.
So I, with your permission, I will add some story from the Mahabharata. I think, Martin, you heard me say that story because you asked about the connection between Judaism and soul and Christianity and soul. And I want to go to the Mahabharata, which is the very famous Indian mythology, Hindu mythology, which is the Bhagavad Gita, which most people heard about, comes from the Mahabharata. It's a very small, kind of very small section of the Mahabharata. If the Mahabharata is this, the Bhagavad Gita is just one page, one kind of comparatively one page. So there's a story about Ekalavya, and Ekalavya was a low caste, which is, caste was everything in the ancient Hindu religion. So he was a low caste person who came to the best archer of the day. Archer, how do you say archer in German?
Bogenschützen, sowas?
Yes, exactly, Bogenschützen. So he went to the best archer of the day and he asked him, make me your student. And that archer, Drona, really liked him. But when he found out that he was low caste, he said, I cannot teach you because I'm only supposed to teach sons of kings, princes. So he said, okay. He bowed down and he went. And he went to the forest and he put some clay together, a mound of earth. And he said, this is Drona. And every day he would start the day by offering fruit and flowers to Drona, to his Drona, and then practice archery, Bogenschützen. And then, without going into details, he became the best archer in the world. So much so that he became better than the princes who studied with Drona. This is one of the most inspiring stories for me. And the reason it's inspiring is because, you see, I always have that saying, God is not Jewish, God is not Christian, God is not Muslim, and the soul is not Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, or anything. But whatever allows you to connect to that higher level of yourself, that's welcome. So if it's a bunch of clay that you put together, if it helps you access that part of yourself which is higher, that's God. It's not God because it is objectively God, because there is no objectively God. It is God because it somehow it allows you to access in you a deeper or a higher place of your own psyche that you cannot otherwise access. And in this sense, there is no Christian way of looking at the soul or a Jewish way of looking at the soul. There's a way of experiencing the soul which doesn't belong to any religion. It's like my first guru, who was a Hindu guru, said, when you enter a mango grove, do you want to eat the mango or do you want to count the trees? And if we are mystics, we want to count the trees, and we are not interested in counting the trees. We're interested in eating the mango. And if you're interested in eating the mango, it doesn't matter what gate you enter into the grove. Is it a Hindu gate or a Jewish gate or a Christian gate? That's secondary.
So I want somehow relate to this what you said now, Igal. So it doesn't matter which way you go. It's more the core you're reaching. So at the same time, there are different traditions. So can we speak? Maybe Susanne, you want to start? You can choose. So what is the importance of traditions? So we have it here. So and it's for the good and for the bad. But is there something we can say that we here really can say that's the reason why it's important that we have different ways, different traditions? Also, really with thousands of years. Susanne?
Honestly, I don't know why it's important that we have different ways. so this is, it might be so just connected to the soul. So maybe I can say that every soul is, of course, this seeker, and there is a need for support to unfold the potential of my soul and your soul. And it might be, it has to do where I born into. So I'm born into a Christian environment. It might be that it has to do with that. And there I can ask questions, so I can find someone who helped me or my soul to unfold itself. So for me, that wasn't all the time. So I couldn't find someone in Christian tradition. So I looked in Buddhism and Hinduism and yoga master and so on. But there is something in my rootedness connected to Christianity. And I need to ask also questions there or to find something out. So it's kind of, I don't want to miss that. So, and I can find out a lot if I stay connected to the word in the Bible. Yeah, so then I can find a lot of answers there. So I don't know if this is an answer for that question, but this is what comes through now.
Yeah, great.
Oh, we're entering a field, a domain of speculation here. If I talk about it, and I will speculate. I think it has a lot to do with the place you happen to be born to, yes. And that's one thing. So there's a good chance that if I been adopted by a Buddhist family, usually happens the other direction. But if I was adopted by a Buddhist family and I grew up Buddhist, then maybe I would feel that. I don't know. My speculation, and it's pure speculation, is that there are grooves of collective consciousness. They're just like there are highways. So in the old days, it's horses in the wild that would create a certain path because they would go through a particular path again and again and again. And it's possible that if you get the right instruction, the groove you go in is the easiest for you to progress in. So it's possible that if you were born to a family that was Christian for thousands of years, in a Christian country, where all the terminology, aware or unaware terminology, somehow leans on the Christian point of view, then on one hand, it'll be easier for you to approach, maybe it'll be easier for you to approach God that way. But the other thing is also because in all those paths, there's a lot of bad karma. All those religions did terrible things to each other. And if you, as somebody who walks in that path, are very sincere and in the work of healing yourself and your devotion, you may be healing some of that karma. So I feel it's both for your benefit, for my benefit, and for the benefit of me allowing my healing to be not for me, but for a bigger cause. I know that at one point, my spiritual path didn't start with Judaism. I started as a Hindu, and I went there quite far. My wife still calls me a Hindu. It's kind of a... But at one point, I felt there was a calling. The calling came from I felt a call from my ancestors. And they kind of knocked on the door and says, what are you doing? You know, you have a path and it got all disrupted because of the Holocaust and everything. You need to do something with it. And is it my imagination? Was it a real calling? I have no idea. But it feels quite natural and beneficial. It didn't make me, I hope that it didn't make me less universal. On the contrary, I feel it. So if I find new ways, fresh ways of being Jewish, I feel this has effects also on my lineage, on my bloodline. Is it true? Keine Ahnung.
I want to stay. Maybe I'm a little the pain in the ass at the moment, but I want to stay a bit because with these traditions, because I think Christianity is not really thinkable without Judaism, because it's so much rooted there. And I would love that we can talk about this point in history, or maybe in all of us who are Christians now, still, where this transition started. Because I think this is really a pain in the collective and many people. And I don't know, Susanna or Igal, who wants to start to talk a bit to this?
Martin, I want to ask you if you want to start to talk about this, because I know this is an important topic for you.
Yeah, this would be the first part of my answer. Somehow it seems to be very, very important to me. So since years, I'm searching for the somehow to the intimacy to Jewish people, or traveling to Jerusalem or something like this. And when I'm touching these points, maybe it's for sure because you also mentioned the Holocaust, so maybe it's part of my Germanness and not only I'm from Christianity. So maybe it's both, but at the same time, I can really feel that when I read the Bible, I can very much relate to the four Gospels. But the moment when Paul comes in, something changes in the transmission for me. And this has something to do with now we are traveling through we are missionaries. And this is somehow really hurts me sometimes. And I'm really interested in the root of Jesus, of Christianity. And so if we are sitting here together, I love to explore this deeper. Also to feel maybe the pain from both ends, whatever comes up. So Igal, maybe you want to say something.
So first of all, to say that in this, you've created a very beautiful field here with this meditation, and in this field, I can see how things are felt very deeply. Because even though we discussed it before this conversation, you and I, Martin, that this may be a topic to discuss, one of the things that we could discuss, as soon as you brought it up, I felt a tremendous amount of pain and all the karma in that whole topic of the relationship between the two religions. And it's just very alive in me right now. A lot of emotional stuff is coming up. And first of all, I've always said it, one cannot understand the teaching of Jesus unless one also studies the Judaism of that period. Normally people say, oh, Moses was about this, but Jesus is about this, which is a crazy comparison. There's thousands of years difference between the two, and completely different. There's the Judaism of Moses by the time it was it's Second Temple Judaism, not First Temple, first century Judaism. It has evolved so much. So if you really want to understand how deeply Jewish the teaching of Jesus are, you really need to, and I don't mean to imply that you have to do it. Maybe you say, I don't care. And it's fine not to care, because again, your pile of clay is your pile of clay. And whatever brings you to God, you don't need to go and do too much study. But if you want to understand more deeply, then it's essential, because you realize that Jesus came at a particular time in the evolution of the Jewish religion, and he fit right in. And he himself said it many times, he did not want to teach, even warned his disciples, don't go into the villages where non-Jews live. He really wanted to be a reformer of the Jewish tradition. But as happens always, the founder of the religions, not just Judaism, not just Christianity, not just Buddhism, Hindu, everywhere, they speak from their level. And they try to convey to people of their time, of their community, certain mystical truth, and try to organize life in some way so that some of that light of the soul, if you want to call it that way, will permeate the life of their followers. But they are speaking from their level of realization, and their followers hear it from their level of realization. And for me, it's very interesting that you particularly singled out Paul, and really the shift that happens between the four Gospels and all the epistles and letters of Paul, because Paul, for me, is so interesting. He was a fanatic Jew, a violent fanatic Jew, who then became a fanatic follower of Jesus without ever meeting Jesus. And just because even in our day and age, we see some people have a tremendous of amount of charisma and depth of spiritual experience, but that's not enough. Paul was not Jesus, and he was never met him, and he just had one spiritual experience. So I always feel kind of a little bit, and of course I'm biased. In case you haven't noticed, I'm biased. And the reason I'm biased is because, and here that's where the pain comes, the relationship between Christianity and Judaism is fraught, is bloody, and scary. So, I always, in my lectures, when I give a lecture on anything, it's usually on mystical topics. I always, even if it's in Jewish context, I always bring quotes from Islam, from Buddhism, from Hinduism, from everywhere. In Israel, when I do those lectures, I cannot start with the first quote being from Christianity. People will go, if I first talk about a quote from Islam and then a quote from Buddha and a quote from Hindu, and then I bring Jesus, there's a context and it lands softly. Otherwise, if I just start bringing, and why is that? Because of the tremendous amount of pressure, violent pressure and threats that has always been put on Jews to convert. For the Holocaust is just the icing on the cake. We're talking about thousands of years of pressure, discrimination. You're the murderers of Jesus. We always got blamed for killing Jesus. We never got the credit for being Jesus. And so the whole thing of the other and hating the other, and we have been and still are now again the devil for the thing. So much so that in the United States, it's now dangerous for Jews. Who would have thunk it? In England. So it's a complex relationship. I am so deeply inspired by the Gospels too. And I find, oh my gosh, I wish he would have taught more than just 2-3 years. Look what, just in 2-3 years, what came out of him. If he could have been around for longer, that would have been amazing. But it's a bloody history. My wife, she was the only Jew in her class in a small town near Pasadena in California. Not 1 year would pass from first grade to 12th grade that somebody, usually a friend or a teacher or a counselor or somebody in that school, would try to convert her and told her that it's their mission to make her see the light. And so there's a lot of, the whole thing is, there's a lot of pain involved in that relationship. And at the same time, you have to realize that you kind of look, and maybe there's a kind of a snobism in it, but I look at Christians as they don't realize how Jewish Jesus was. They just don't get it. And I sometimes feel, hello, Anyway, it's a very complex, it's like tar. You know what tar is? How do you say tar in German? Tar is that black.
Yeah, tear.
Thing. Yeah. It's kind of, that's how that relationship is.
Yeah, but thank you very much, Igal, that you're here and answering my question or bringing partly the pain and complexity here. Susanne, I want to ask you if you have to say something to this topic. What maybe also, I know it's stupid, but so from what do you see as born into Christianity as a good way to live with this? Or
You know, I also traveled a lot of times to Israel. There, I felt drawn to do that and kind of feeling something. And it's really, in my point of view, it's really soul connected. That in this land, so to be with my feet on this land, that is something important. And I can feel that in my body. And this is also what I want to bring in now, also the female part of, or yeah, the female part of bodiness or embodiment of, I cannot say Christianity or Judaism, that makes no sense. So this is, yeah, so of God or this divine. So this is what I want to explore with you and to come closer and to learn from you and to explore something also now here in this conversation, and all of you sitting with us and holding the space and kind of have more or less a resonance that we are able to create something, the truth in the core of every religion, and we have that here now. So, and studying a bit, so in the Bible and also in the Old Testament, I can find a lot of women there. I guess there are much more women named women, so that the wife of this man, Abraham and Sarah, and so all of this, Esther and Abigail and all this. This is makes me curious. So what is that about? And I can learn from this tradition a lot. I don't want to limit myself into Christianity. When I'm honest, it's like this. Yeah, I don't need to identify and and close the door. I don't want to do that. Maybe it's stupid, so because something tells me, yeah, but you have to identify with that. No, I don't want to do that. Yes, I'm rooted in this, and I'm born in this environment. There's a lot of richness to find, but it's connected to. So Judaism is rooted in something what happened before, what human beings are explored or evolved before, connected to the light and God. Yeah, so we need to go back in history and to feel that. I can feel that here. That's much more than, oh, this is Judaism. But as you said, Igal, I can understand. I feel also the pain in my heart, connected to the violence that happened in our history. That's painful. It's so painful. Yeah, and I'm happy that we can meet here like this This is so rich.
Yeah, and I also feel that it's only by not ignoring the pain that we can actually meet.
Yeah.
It's we are forever intertwined karmically, and however, and it's only by facing the whole thing that we can move the whole thing forward. Hopefully. At least we can give it a good try.
I want to ask all of you, if someone of you has a question for Igal, me, Susanna, something moved you, or just a comment. Or the description, how you feel now.
Ich kann es nicht auf Englisch sagen, dafür ist mein Englisch zu schlecht. Das kann jemand ja vielleicht übersetzen.
She wants to talk in German.
Ich kann vielleicht verstehen und dann was, ja.
Mich würde interessieren, es wurde ja gerade gesagt, wie jüdisch Jesus aufgewachsen ist oder wie jüdisch er war. Und das würde mich noch mehr interessieren, wie das zu dieser Zeit war.
That's a good question. When you say wie jüdisch, I understand to be how Jewish was he? 100%. So there was nothing else. Also war total jüdisch. Nicht nur als Kind, aber auch als Erwachsener. Er war total jüdisch und er war eine jüdische Lehre, eine unwahrscheinlich wunderbar jüdische Lehre, Rabbin.
Aber kannst du mir noch mehr sagen, was das heißt?
Was das heißt? Also, dass bestimmte Formen von Beten, zum Beispiel unser Vater, das ist eine sehr jüdische Form von Beten. Er hat koscher gegessen, also das ist eine sehr, sehr komplizierte Frage, was heißt koscher? Also er hat koscher gegessen, er hat nicht gearbeitet auf Schabbat, er hat das heilige Schriften, die hebräische Bibel studiert, aber es ist interessant, weil, weißt du, in die Bibel there is a verse that says, when Jesus says about himself, "Don't think that I came to abolish the law and the prophets. I came not to abolish them, but to fulfill them." Now, law, Gesetz, is usually how the Christian translate the word Torah. It's not what Torah means, but the whole political thing between Jewish and Christianity, they usually, like Moses was the lawgiver in the Christian ways of seeing it. So Torah is law. But really what he was saying, don't think that I came to abolish the Torah and the prophets. Why does he say Torah and prophets? Because, you know, the Hebrew Bible is composed of 3 sections: Torah, prophets, and writings. But in Jesus' time, they were just deciding which books are going to be part of the Holy Scriptures. They have decided on the Torah, they've decided on the prophets. They have not yet decided on the script, on the writings. So Psalms and Job and all those later scripts were not yet part. So all he knew was this first part of the Bible. And for him, that was canonical. So he didn't follow the Christian Bible. He followed the Hebrew Bible. That was his thing. So if you ask how he lived, that's how he lived. And most probably he went to the mikveh to bathe once in a while. He followed Passover. He followed the Jewish holidays. He lived like a Jew. If you want to know more what it means, oh my God, there's a lot to learn, too much. I hope that, ich hoffe, dass das ist genug für jetzt.